before we go into that, and again, one of the things that I like to do is that, and if you don't mind, is almost, I still find it funny with the birds in the background, it's quite cool, is that when I clip this up and put it on YouTube, I like to get to know the people, behind the business as well, because I think it's good for you, but also when you kind of communicate who you are. But then likewise, like I learn most of my stuff on YouTube, that actually I think there's a lot of people out there who are from Sunderland or the Northeast or Liverpool or wherever, that have never, well, obviously in theory you only go away to uni once, but actually, how did you find that process going from your hometown just to a big city like Manchester?
You could talk about a lot of mixed emotions within that transition. I remember moving away, and within the first day it was like amazing. I got put with 10 people, and we automatically became a family. It was really weird, but really fortunate at the same time. About 3 weeks in, after the party and all of the social buzz and everything didn't die down, definitely, because I think that's there the whole time, but it maybe plateaued. I realized what situation I was in. I was like, wow, like I felt homesick, and I'm not really that type of person, but I missed the things, the luxuries that I had at home, because now I was completely independent. I was in a big city, and Manchester's quite, it's a big city. It's a little bit daunting because there's crime, there's big level crime, and it's just like all of these things that you don't get as much of in Sunderland. So that transition was a little bit scary, but ultimately, a huge part of me developing as a character. I was just like, wow, this is what type of life I want to live.
I found it funny that I was quite funny because when I went to Sheffield, which it's not quite as big as Manchester, but still a big city, but it's got a different feel to it. So Liverpool can have, there's a hard edge to some parts of it, not others. Manchester, I think, has the same. That actually Sheffield, I think, was the most safest city in the country, but I felt the same. But then likewise, that when I went into halls, there was actually a guy in my same block that I went to school with. So I wasn't actually on my own, but it's an interesting kind of process. And then actually, when you started your degree, how did you find the kind of process? Was it what you expected? Were you doing the kind of thing that you expected to do? And then actually, did you find that it was useful when you then come to kind of graduate?
Yeah. To be honest, the course that I chose couldn't have been better suited to me. The way in which I found it really hard to adapt from school to A-level, I found that jump really difficult, and I think most people do. I think that's why they've adjusted GCSEs to be more comparable to A-levels, or to less of a jump, sorry. Yeah. Whereas university was more of a smooth transition, and that was bolstered by the fact that the course content was just so enjoyable to me. We were designing chairs for the Lowry Hotel in Manchester. Just cool, that's a cool project. Or we were going on live projects with a company called Go Systems, who do camping stoves and gas for these portable little stoves that's used in the Duke of Edinburgh Ward, or
I know what they are. Yeah.
Stuff like that. So just these really cool projects, and within that there were so many little barriers that you had to get over, to me that was just so suited. I often liken it to The Apprentice, right? It's although it was a design engineering course, it was literally like Lord Sugar sets you a brief and you come back with the product, the sales pitch. We obviously had to sketch and design it and stuff like that, but it's basically just every little iteration's a business idea, and it's a venture that you take to pitch level, and then you move on to the next project. So we did that. I mean, you do that probably 6 or 7 times a year, and you do that for 3 years. By the end of it, you're well versed in idea generation and also a sales pitch as well.
In I think it's 2 weeks, I'm actually interviewing. Her name's Elena, and she taught module MEC 414, which for me is probably, I don't know, 15 to 20 years ago. It was a fair while ago, but actually it was the first management / marketing module that I'd ever done, because mechanical engineering is very techy. It starts off very sciencey and systems and controls, and you don't actually get onto the fun stuff till later. But actually that was the first time it opened my eyes up to problem solving with a blank sheet of paper. So in that one, which I guess I'll talk about in a few weeks' time, was almost that the there was a family and there was a child called Kieran, and Kieran had cerebral palsy. And actually his family came in to talk to the class of us. There was probably 80 of us. And we were in teams. And what we had to do was actually come up with, how can we improve his life? What's he into? How can we do lots of different things? But actually, it was a real person who was sat there, and you could actually physically do stuff. And almost what that did for me, it just opened up my eyes to stuff that I just didn't even know existed. And actually, so I really kind of empathize with what you're talking about, because actually I think it was almost when something clicked for me, whilst I was still at uni, that arguably kind of put me on the path I'm on now. But actually, I'm quite looking forward to interviewing Elena in a few weeks' time, because I'm interested to know what I was like at 18, 19, 22, because it won't be what I think I was like. But actually, it's a fascinating kind of journey to go from. And actually, I think a lot of people will be interested who are either on that journey now, just to hear from you how you kind of found it.